Okay. Uh, Last time we got some
to be the K-Man first mantra and philosophy, because we have lost it. We of society living the Cayman dream. They're actually living the Cayman nightmare. And we are taxing these people into poverty, and we're not developing things to help them. So what we have to look for leaders that know how to get this stuff done. Not leaders that can identify a problem, but leaders that can fix the
some gradual changes. They will make revolutionary changes.
Right.
And if that's what we want, which I'm sure no one wants that, we want and we sit in the boardroom and say, we have to look at the grassroots movement, right? And the fact is that we all in our constituency have grassroots. My constituency is a bit different. Fundamental changes to the medical services that they receive, because they're not receiving adequate medical services. We're using the buying power of 5 hospitals. We're pooling our resources. Think of how that can impact the lives of our elderly,
Right.
or the sick or the infirm. And we also need to do that if we allow politicians to use it for pet projects. My suggestion is whatever percentage put it needs to be around social projects, so enhancing the elders, enhancing the educational system, enhancing the ability for students to get access to higher education. Those are all things that we can earmark it for that. There are other countries that have used this before. And normally I know people say, well, those countries like Norway, they were able to take that revenue, $827 million, and expenditure of 789 million. So there was a deficit of like 30 something million. But you had a surplus. Not many operating a surplus, and we need to below. You'll have massive social issues. We don't want that. I personally don't want that. And I am sure, as an advocate of social issues that you've always been, and you are a political candidate before, you understand these issues more better than perhaps
So
the majority.
I'm a social worker by
There
profession.
you exactly.
So for the last 20, they've been kind of left behind. And that to me is not progress.
No, it's
And
not
so,
progress
yes,
at
there
all.
is progress, but we have to balance it out, don't we?
Yeah.
with taking
Years.
yeah CEO 3 years, and now you decide to take up put your why would you do that?
Well, the thing is, Catherine, last year when I resigned from the digital, it was to run my own company. I am. There's been philanthropic, so we've always been that way. But then COVID happened, and while I was sitting down with my wife, Kath, she said, "I commitment was for 8 weeks, but the need was so great that we ended up extending it to 12 weeks, and we delivered around 9,000 meals." Every Monday and
during
Thursday
COVID.
during COVID,
Okay.
but it was in West Bay. It wasn't. There was only one person in my West Bay South that we delivered to. All the others were in other parts of West. We also had people from Crew Road, from Frankstown that came and got. So when I going out in the community, Captain, one of the it's the thing that me has not and will not be able to be successful if we don't fix these social issues. And I question all of these things, decision of how many people are going to be impacted by this, because we can't on infrastructure projects, because the infrastructure of countries and human capital isn't critical, and not everyone is human capital isn't, and not everyone is going to be. We have to fend for themselves. We have to understand that. And as a country, we pay lip service to a lot of this talk about our employment level.
Yeah. Well, it's not sex. Right. When everyone started out, they started out with the same, yes, this is what I'm going to do. What do you think happens along the way? And how are you sure that's not going to happen to you?
Well, I think difficulties in getting this. This isn't philosophical. This isn't say. This isn't something that I've just started doing. This is something that has helped, will continue to help, because it's on. I can't go and buy and see a problem and not this isn't. And the other thing that I have a family that's vested in this as well, right? They will hold to provide value to others.
Right. So, so basically, you're saying that you had not thought very long about running for politics. This was not something that you had
No,
thought.
I had always thought about politics. It's
Okay.
something that I always wanted to do, Catherine, but I had very young kids, so the line. Daniel is 22 years old. He graduates in May. My daughter graduates. They're of age, know that they don't. So I think sometimes she gets tired.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Maybe she does. Maybe she does. I mean, she wouldn't know it because she's also very charitable. So she did it from Jamaica. She had a soup kitchen in Jamaica. Years ago.
Yeah.
And we had how difficult the lives of kids that they know by name now is.
Right.
And I understand, but also, as you said, we don't speak of the wrongs that are, and I think that's one of the things that's, and I think that's one of the things that's problem. Because how we do it is
against, have to go up against a part.
I work with independents. I don't have a party machine behind me.
Okay.
But there were people that endorsed him that were party members
Good for clearing that
and they were ministers as well in the current government.
Okay.
That were at the meeting. So
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
Thanks for clearing that out. But I also want to ask then. So when tomorrow happens, midnight comes, and we all know. Answers.
That's right. And I
2 days later, it wasn't that.
There were no independents, right? No, I don't
Right.
think so. I think what will happen is that there's going to be a true coalition government, and not a coalition government that's led by a party. It wasn't a conservative. It's not led by a party. It's not led by the independents. It's people that have like-minded philosophical views on things that they can work together. So I don't think there would be that provided that it continues as it is. And there are lots of independents who are very strong candidates who have or independent-minded who can actually bring a lot to the table.
Right.
A lot to the table.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But like we said, are you an independent or are you not?
Right,
And
exactly.
so that's going to be important.
Right.
So if you're listening, guys, stick to your guns, please.
That's right.
Please, can you stick to
But it's
faith?
taking a number of people sitting together that can actually get the best outcome for the country. And so I am very optimistic in that regard that the persons that I've been speaking from an independent side feel the same way I feel. That if we are going to do this, we'll do it as a cohesive group, and we will work together to form the best government possible for the country.
Awesome. We're looking forward to the freshness. We're looking forward to a change. We're looking forward to, old guards kind of being moved on. I think things just need to remain fresh.
Right, exactly.
Period. I just believe that. Martin Luther King says our lives begin the day we end. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
Right.
And I think that's a slippery slope, right? When people start to become silent about things that matter, it doesn't necessarily, for a part of the problem.
Anything.
Exactly.
Right.
And means consent. Do you remember the old people said all of these things?
You're not going to allow a social ill or a social problem to occur without highlighting and even calling me up. Said, "Roll, you're on the show on the 13th."
Absolutely.
And you said this. Right?
As you're talking, I'm listening.
Right.
I'm like, I hope Raul's prepared for me to be like, hey,
of course,
what's happening?
And I would welcome that, Catherine. The fact is that, to be an elected official is something that you're not supposed to take lightly.
It's a responsibility for your
responsibility.
entire country, not for just little pockets.
That's
For
right.
everybody.
And that's why when you take a decision, or any decisions that I take as a elected member, I will have to be able to stand behind those decisions. And I would love it for voters. Sometimes some of us go 6 months before, some of us go 6 weeks before. But the fact is, if we go to them fast,
You know where they are.
And also,
You know how to reach
right. Why aren't you going to them when there's a decision that has to be taken in their lives?
Exactly.
Nothing has to be shrouded because they don't engage. And I bet not a lot of politicians have come on your show that are elected, right? I don't know for what reason they feel the need to engage and to speak to them candidly and transparently. I think if you do that, you have less problems because you're stating whether it's wrong or right. And if it's wrong, then you sometimes you have to say, yeah, wrong decision.
Right. I was wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
You can't always be right. Because if you're right, then you're perfect. There's no
perfect
human being on right. So
Absolutely.
and that is why I think having these types of forums on yourself, making sure this is recorded and it's everywhere. It's for public consumption and for people to understand, comprehend, and take it in and say, yeah, that you. That on this monthly meetings with constituents. There is no reason why I shouldn't go to them and say, this is what we've done last week. This is what we plan to do next month. What do you guys think? How do you think? Because it's an easy process. We're talking about 1,500 constituents. Like but there are other ways to engage them. There's Zooms, there's lots of
during election time, I find a lot of flyers and send them out throughout the year during those 4 years. It'll be okay. You can go ahead and print, a 6-page, the little leaflets, right?
Pamphlets.
Pamphlets, and just print that out and let me know what's happening with this and with that and with the other, and put it on my doorstep.
There you go.
You know where I live.
Or use Instagram and Facebook.
Do something. Something. The fact is, you're able to do it when it's convenient to you. So why not keep people informed? We have quite a few questions that we still would like to ask you. So I'll ask you to stay on with us.
Okay, because I have a meeting tonight, right? So I also want to encourage people to come out to my meeting at 7:30.
Okay.
So the 4-way stop. I mean, I'll be there. Obviously, we have guest speakers. We also have a celebrity endorser. We have lots of young Caymanian entertainers. So I have a tight schedule, but I'll try to make myself available because I have to drive to West Bay and all that. But I need to get ready for everything.
All
But
right.
yeah, I'll answer the question.
Okay, just stay tuned for a few more, just a few more minutes with Raul Nicholson Cole. He is a political candidate for the West Bay South constituency. And just talking to him this afternoon on Straight Talk. Stay, we'll be back with more.
Join the conversation. The phone lines are now open. 3700. More Straight Talk to come on
those preschools? Do we subsidize it? Do we ask for a reduction? We put the kids in there, but we have to raise the standard of education. So we need to start recruiting teachers from all over. When I was in school,
That's the thing. Because I remember my home economics teacher was from Scotland.
they
I'm telling you, like,
Right.
and this is one of the problems I think we have over 130 nationalities.
That's right.
So yeah,
And
great
that's one
point.
of the first things I would like to see, because what that will happen is that you get greater engagement. You'll get greater engagement with parents. And the reason why I say this, there's empirical evidence to prove that this works. If you look at the Lehman Scott High School in Cameron Brack, it indexes higher from a numeracy and literacy rate than any other schools.
Right.
And you have to think, oh, is that because it's Cayman Brack, or is it because the persons that are in Cayman Brack with kids have no other choice but to send their kids to that high school?
Wow. Yeah.
And the other white turtle meat, right, rice and beans and
The
green banana,
respect. Yeah.
they will understand
Yes.
that is what's a Caymanian. A Caymanian
Absolutely.
isn't someone that sits with a glass of wine and and that's not what we drink. We drink lemonade and beans and we eat breadfruit, and that's who we are. And that doesn't make us less of a person. We can still go and have sushi.
Right.
We can still go and have ceviche. But the fact is that what I guess embodies a Caymanian
Right.
we don't waters down us all cultural as well.
It absolutely
Because
does.
feel isn't good for our people, because what we do, our people will then feel marginalized at a much larger percentage than they are now.
Right.
And that will create, social disharmony. You as a social worker understand this a lot better than me from an academic perspective, even the practical. And they are not as confident as we were when we came out of high
No.
school. We felt like
No.
we could conquer the world.
Right.
And also, if you think about from a social perspective, when we were in high school in the public school system, we had the best debaters, the general knowledge guy. We were the best at general knowledge. We had the best sports.
Right.
We had the best athletes.
Well, in fact, you know what? Now that you're saying it, for private schools like say Triple C, for instance, we never felt like we were.
Which is fine and well, but it then became a social disaster, because they have kids now that are not feeling confident, that are feeling that they're inferior in their own country.
Right.
That's not a good feeling to have.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Like, if you get in, just maybe you could just talk about the age of the children. Like, stop putting them out at 15, 16. Where they going? What they
Exactly.
doing?
I
This is
know.
ridiculous.
That's right.
That is ridiculous.
But we're pushing kids out of the system.
It's ridiculous.
Right? We're pushing kids out of the system that can't fend for themselves.
And they're not. The sad part is that you're graduating a person who cannot get a driver's license,
That's
who's legally not even able to drink.
a house that is off the grid that potentially will reduce the cost of operating it over a longer period of time, and you create a rent own scheme because there are persons that can't come up with the won't be able to come up with it. Create if they're no thing.
You and I are just like these brilliant brains that this is like invention.
Are in the that have worked in the civil service for a while and that haven't seen these types of things, and then they become ministers or members of parliament. They're not thinking of a solution, they're thinking of a problem. And I think that the civil service, they have fantastic civil servants, right? But I think ministers, when they go in, they tend to be so consumed, right, that they don't think of strategies of how we can help. Because these ideas, I'm sure there may be someone in National Housing Trust that actually have these ideas already, but he may have presented it to
Well,
someone.
that's
And
where I was originally,
there you go. Okay.
but they put us out because they didn't want community development.
Okay.
That's just a little secret that a
Right.
lot of people don't
But you
know.
see, that's the other thing, right? When you create housing, it's not a house you're creating; it's a community.
You're preaching to the choir
Well, there you go.
again
Well,
because
then,
absolutely.
we'll have a big choir when I'm elected.
Well, okay.
Because I expect that to be one of the first things that I fix. Because let's build a community. When you build for low income or affordable housing, why not build a pool? Why not build a tennis court? Why not build something to allow the kids to have a safe outlet? Because that they spend most of their time at home. If they don't,
And it's lots of children.
That's right, and they don't have the ability during summer to go to a summer camp.
Yep.
Creator
want us there.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's another show.
Right.
But what I
That is
will say too is that these things are really things that make sense, and you're talking about people not doing that, but yet they're throwing $300 million around as if it's $300.
Mhm.
And some things are
Cost
100
that.
million.
No, it may cost 10% of that.
Exactly.
Less than that. It may cost 5%. It may cost
That's what I'm
$15
saying.
million dollars.
Exactly.
Right. And if
Exactly.
you don't, but when you think about if you go $15 million transform.
Are you afraid of disenfranchising the privileged? Because this is always the link that I always felt like the parties do a more for people that have money, and so the people that don't are left behind.
Well,
you
I
are
think-
not one of the people that don't have money.
Right.
So to be speaking this just makes so much sense.
Yeah, but the thing is that if we, I said this before, be an economic, people need to make money. We know that, and I'm a free market thinker, but I also know that if you continue to do so without understanding and appreciating the fact that their lives involved, that their people's lives that will be impacted by this, then the decision that you're taking is so one-sided
right.
that somebody will benefit from.
Right. And what about the environment?
The environment is huge. We need to, any decision has to be, we need to take, my idea on any decision, we need to look at it economic. Social for rocks, but we would run on the rocks and see who could slide longest. I mean, you would fall, and I guarantee you, I know that I must have got injured, that I had to repair my back about 4 years ago. Because of we have, government has to seem to acquire that so that it remains the ownership of the Cayman people in perpetuity. Right. So I believe in the environment. The environment, it makes the Cayman tourism product better. And so we have to think that we can't disadvantage somebody that's already disadvantaged even more. We have to look out. The margins, the more they will think about the environment and think of the importance of and look at
Development, then we are definitely compromising our entire life, our entire history, our entire culture. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Our heritage.
Yeah. So we can't sell it out. We can't get rid of it.
No.
It still has to exist. And
That's
so
right. And it has to coexist with development.
Absolutely.
It's not a zero-sum game, right?
it's about the balance.
Balance, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you have to run.
No, I'm so
And
sorry, but
so,
I have to go. But I
yes.
will a problem in measure on those things.
Okay.
Right.
And we'll hold you to it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Record
Thank you
this.
so
All right.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Raul. You
Thank
have a
you.
great
You
afternoon
too.
and
Bye-bye.
drive safely
Thank you.
on your
All
way
right.
to West Bay.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you on the other side. That was Raul Nicholson Co. To him this afternoon. It's gonna be something tomorrow. So I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to really, talk to some of the candidates that their thoughts and to give us the as voters um, to basically hear their thoughts on the job that they will do, because this is a job interview. I think a lot of people miss that point, and no one is owed a vote. No one should be what is the word? No one should be coercing you into a vote, forcing you into a vote, threatening you into a vote, making you feel guilty about a vote, and they should not be helping you for a vote. They should be helping you, period. Right? So, anyone who already is in office and they have been around you basically wanting to help you vote last 4 years, their words matched up to their actions. Think about how many times you felt confident in what they were doing, how many times you knew what was happening, how many times you felt in the dark, not informed. So before you go and cast your vote for the 19 people that are currently in, think. And when you go down that list, you can make that sound decision. Quickly, I'll go over West Bay North candidates: Ralston Raleigh Anglin, Bernie Alfredo Bush. West Bay candidates: West Bay West candidates, McKeeva Bush, Mario Ebanks. The West Bay Central candidates: Captain Eugene Ebanks, Catherine Ebanks Wilkes. West Bay South candidates: Andre Neal, what he feels in terms of our representation that we've had and that he will give. Georgetown Central candidates: Kenneth Vernon Bryan and Frank Anthony Cornwall. And the Georgetown West candidates: Perlina McGaw Lumsden, Elio Anthony, Dr. James Samuels, Sammy Jackson, and Alden McLaughlin, our current premier. And the Georgetown East candidates: Richard Alexander Bernard, Emily Cecilia Ann DeCoux, Christina Hislop Rollinson, Frank Suarez McField, and Roy Michael McTaggart. And the prospect candidates: Austin Osmond Harris Jr., Michael Stephen Miles, Sabrina Teresa Turner. Vincent Ronaldo Frederick, Christopher Selvin Saunders. Boddentown East candidates: Osborne, Denison Ezard Miller. East End candidates, McCleary Dwight Frederick, V. Arden McLean, Isaac Douglas Rankin. When did he come up? There you have it, folks. That is what you will have to be deciding on tomorrow. Us, we will, not just you, me, myself, and I, because my vote counts, and I will be casting that. In fairness, and keep me informed and respect me, respect my life, and all of the people around me as well. You have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. John Bunyan. And Rochelle E. Goodrich said, I'm starting to think this world is on each other more than we want to admit. And for joining me this afternoon. This is the eve of election, and I will be back. I'd tell you to do that. Go online, look up your candidates, go on their websites, those that have them. Look at the track records of those that have been in office and vote wisely. It all, let's do our best and put the right foot forward and cast our vote. Thank you all so much. Have a great afternoon. We shall talk again on Thursday. Take care.
Connect to the culture.